Okay, so this is your review. This is the first draft I've ever made, so that's why it looks like this. These are just going over the answers. If you can see one of the numbers, then you can just go over it on here. Okay, so number 1, the length of a rectangle. If they tell you a shape, draw it. The length of a rectangle is equal to 4 squared, and the width is equal to 4 to the 4th. Which expression is equivalent to the area? Area equals length times width. Now, 4 to the 4th is definitely bigger than 4 squared, so ignore the actual scale. But they're going to give you multiple choice answers. And so what you would do is I have the same base, I'd keep it, and then I would add my exponents. So your answer is going to be 4 to the 6 millimeters. And number 2, the expression 4 to the second times 4 to the n is equivalent to this. What is the value of n? So we said we can keep the same base and add our exponents. And this is what you're going to get. If I multiply them together, I can add these exponents, and I know this is what I'm supposed to get. That means this is supposed to be equal to this. N is 8. Number 3, I'm squaring both factors. So it's 3 squared, and then 2 to the second, which is to the 4th. So my answer is 9x to the 4th. Number 4, they ask you to simplify. So if it's negative, it needs to be moved. So you could subtract here and say -5 minus 6, and then say y to the -11th, which then needs to be moved. Or what you could have done is said, all right, y to the 6th is positive, move y to the 5th, and then it'd be 1 over y to the 11th. Either way, you're going to get the same answer. And then on the bottom, it says an engineer is designing a solar panel, blah, 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 blah. The length and the width are described by the monomials as shown in the diagram. Write an expression in simplest form. So to find the area is length times width. The length is this. The width is this. It's 88x to the 4th y cubed. Number 6, it's y to the 8th. You're also squaring what's in the denominator, so it's 3 squared and x to the 6, which reduces to a 9, x to the 6. It says assume the denominator is not equal to 0. That's just, I shouldn't say ignore it, but they're just saying if you have 0 in your denominator, you can't divide by 0. So we're just covering our bases when we say that. Here, 8 divided by 4 is 2. I like to move things. If it's negative, move it to the top. If it's positive, move to the bottom. I move first. All right, 4 minus 3 is 1. So 2 y to the first. 3 minus 1 is 2. It's expressed in scientific notation. I'm making my number bigger. So I have to be between 1 and 10. And I moved it 1, 2, 3, 4 times. It says to evaluate. We're going to skip this for a moment because I don't have my calculator on me. I will get right back to it. But it's this times this. And then this times this, which is 5th plus a -3, which then would be 10 to the 2nd, and then whatever this is. And then we might have to move some things. So just pause for the moment. Here it says express the square root of 36 in another way. 36 is the same thing as 36 to the 1/2. You might say your answer is 6, but that's clearly not a choice when you have the multiple choice questions in your review packet. Number 11 asks you to find the sum. B squared, -7, +5 is a -2. That's it. So b squared, -7c, 5c is a -2c, and then a 3 is left over. They want you to simplify here, which is subtraction. Nothing is happening to this first quantity, but we are simply subtracting every term in the second quantity. So 4x squared, -11x squared is -7x squared, -1x squared, -5x squared is -6x squared, and a +9. Number 13 is two sides of a triangle are this and this. All right, we're going to add them together to get 9x squared, or 9x, and a 5y minus a 1y, which is 4y. This is the perimeter thus far. Our total perimeter should be this. What is the third side? So if I'm trying to get from here to here, I'm missing a 3x. If I'm trying to get from 4y to 6y, I'm missing a 2y. So this is your answer. Number 14, they want you to simplify. 5 times 3 is 15. X is x squared. 5 times 2 is negative 10. Xy cubed. 35. We have an x and a y and a squared. Multiply. X squared. 7x. Negative 2x. Negative 14. Which equals x squared plus 5x minus 14. Number 16 asks you to simplify. X squared minus 4x plus 4. Here on the bottom, 16 divided by 4. Well, you could break this up, but this is probably better visually for you. This is going to be 4y squared minus 2y plus 1. And lastly, least common multiple. I think of it like this. We need a house that both can fit into. So a 5 and a 15. Well, 5 can go into 15. So it has to contain 15. I have 2 x's. I have 5 x's. I need 5 x's. I have 4 y's and I have 2 y's, so I need 4 y's to be able to fit in there. So this number contains this and it contains this. Not at the same time necessarily, but that is your least common multiple. All right, what is the GCF of all of this? Well, they all contain a 7 and they all contain an x. So that is your GCF. Number 20, they ask you here to factor. I should have wrote factor. Okay, between these two, they share an x squared. Between these two, they share a 4. If I don't get the same thing twice, then this wasn't a good way to factor. There was no overall GCF, but by using grouping, I could create one. So now they have this in common, x plus 2. When I factor out this quantity, I'm left with x squared plus 4. 21, do you have 3 terms with a plus in the back? You do. There's no GCF, so we know it's x plus and x plus. So it's going to be a 4 and a 5. Number 22, they have a GCF of 2 in common. Take it out, and you're left with this. However, this is the difference of 2 perfect squares. So square root of 25 is 5. It's positive and negative because you have to multiply to get to a negative 25. And that's your answer. Like I said before, if this is too fast, that's fine. You can pause, rewind, ask questions. Okay, this one's saying area is length times width. If the area is x squared minus 2x minus 35, and here's the length, x plus 5, then what was the width? It'd have to be an x. 5 times what gives you 35, negative 7. A 5 and a negative 7 gives you a negative 2. And that would be it. And number 24, they ask you to solve, and you need to factor so you can solve. Do you have 3 terms with a plus in the back? Yes, you do. So x minus, this term will double up. Factors of 36 are 6 and 6 that add to 12. Then you set each piece equal to 0 to solve, and your answer is simply 6. Reminder, these are going to be multiple choice. So what you could have done also too is take your answer, plug it into one of these x's. Do you get 0? Number 25, you have to bring that 16 back. Do you have 3 terms with a plus in the back? Plus, plus. Factors of 16 that give you 10, 2, and 8. You set each piece equal to 0 to solve. So x equals negative 2. X equals negative 8. Oh, I'm sorry. X will equal negative 8. Like I said, in multiple choice, plug your answers back in to see if they work. Here, is there a GCF? They can take it an x, so you're left with 2x squared plus 8x plus 3 equals 0. Once again, this will be multiple choice. Here we have to factor. So we can use our method here of 2 times 3, which is 6. Are there factors of 6 that give you 8? No, there are not. So this one is unfactorable. So no solution. 27, state the excluded values. Well, we didn't really discuss this too much, but excluded value means values that you cannot use. We have fractions here, so we have division. And what can we not divide by? We can't divide by 0. This is a no-no. So what would make this equal to 0? 4. So the excluded value is 4, because if I use 4, then I get 0 in the denominator. 28, we can break down the top and the bottom. The bottom, x minus 5, it is what it is. My solution is x plus x. And that's it.